Welcome back, Truth Seeker. We recently talked about the coincidences with the Rite Aid shooting in Aberdeen, Maryland, and the parallels with the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, reminding of Aberdeen, Scotland, and how it seemingly all synced up with Governor Larry Hogan's birthday. If you missed that work and my call to Governor Larry Hogan's office, please go back and check it out. What I want to talk about is the death of Kamenentz, who was the Democratic challenger to the governor in the upcoming election, November 6th, 2018. This man dropped dead out of nowhere Thursday, May 10th, 2018, and it was reported that he dropped dead at 3:22 in the morning from cardiac arrest. Now, as we know, 322 is the number that Yale Skull and Bones identifies by. The Masonic order at Yale that the two Bushes, who were both presidents, were a part of. Also, many other members of our government have been part of that special fraternity at Yale that allows 15 members per year. Coincidentally, this man died 15 days before the governor's 62nd birthday, and consider he's the 62nd governor of Maryland, and in Gematria, Mason equals 62. So let's look at this and see what all pops out beyond him dying at 3:22 a.m. You know what I just noticed about Yale Skull and Bones? We're already looking at the year 2019, and I did a video on why 2019 is going to be a bad year for the world. A lot of order out of chaos, Masonic events planned for that year. Skull and Bones is going to turn 187 years old in 2019. 187. We'll come back to that number. If you follow my work, you already know that number. But anyhow, May 10th, 18, the day this man died at 3:22 in the morning, the Democratic challenger to the governor. It was a date with 33 numerology, 5 plus 10 plus 18. Now, when you're an alumni of Skull and Bones, you're known as a bonesman. Bonesman has the Gematria of 33, so does Masonry, so does secrecy, so does order. And for the record, in Gematria, skull also sums to 33, like skull and bones. Mafia also has the Gematria of 33. The true mafia of this world is the Masonic network that operates in high places. And as I've shown before, all the famous gangster names you know from history, they were all fronts for the real Masonic Zionist mafia. A few other points with regards to 33 and Skull and Bones and Masonry. If you write out crossbones, it has Gematria of 141. If you write out 33 in that same cipher, it has Gematria of 141. You know? May 10th, 2018, it was also a date with 53 numerology. If you write out 322, has Gematria of 53. You might recall Tim Russert years ago from Meet the Press questioning George W. Bush and John Kerry about Skull and Bones 322. And he asked both of them what they could share about being in that secret society, and wasn't it strange that they were both running against each other from this small fraternal order, the two frontrunners for the presidency in 2004? But if you go back and look, Tim Russert died by the numbers. His death is in my book, Letters and Numbers, in the chapter Murder by Numbers. They reported that he died at 2:23. 223, 322 in reverse. Remember, Masonic equals 223 in the Jewish cipher. But the point is, this guy died at 322 on a date with 53 numerology, and 322 has 53 Gematria. This man who died, he was from Baltimore. Baltimore's got that Gematria of 58, like Freemasonry, like secret society. The man who died, his name was Kevin Kamenentz. And a lot of things jump out about his name. Again, there's 4 base ciphers. We're looking at them right here. If you write out 33 in the same cipher that Kevin Kamenentz sums to 156, 33 also sums to 156 in that cipher. Notice the 57 as well. Scottish Rite sums to 57 in that cipher. Again, we were just talking about the Scottish Rite rituals with the Rite Aid shooting in Aberdeen. And of course, the Scottish Rite is headquartered in Washington, D.C., not far from Baltimore. But anyway, Kevin Kamenentz had the 57 Gematria. He died of cardiac arrest, which equals 57 in that same cipher. Other things that jump out, Kevin has the Gematria of 74, like Larry, like Masonic, like the sitting governor, Larry Hogan. Cardiac arrest also has Gematria 96, like Freemason. Following the Scottish Rite parallels, he was born in 57. His birthday was November 26th. He died exactly 165 days after his birthday. Scottish Rite, with the alphabetic order, 165. You know, how perfect is all of this? I'll remind you, George W. Bush and his father, George Herbert Walker Bush, both Skull and Bones members, and the only two presidents with paintings on the wall in the Scottish Rite Masonic Temple in Washington, D.C. So obviously close ties with Skull and Bones and the Scottish Rite. Again, they're both Masonic secret societies. So, as for Larry, his birthday was May 25th. This man died 15 days before. Again, Skull and Bones allows 15 members per year. The other thing about 15 is 47 is the 15th prime number. 47, the 15th prime on the Freemason compass in their logo. It's set at 47 degrees as a tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid. Remember, it is the number in Washington, D.C. Something I talk about in my book, but don't talk about often in my videos, but a reminder here. The circle at the top of the compass that's set at 47 degrees is known as the pole star to Freemasonry. Pole star has that Gematria of 47. Maryland has the Gematria of 47 where this happened. Government 47, authority 47, obey 47, mafia 47. Remember, just using the base ciphers, everything in DC is 47. DC's 47 when you flip the alphabetic order around. President's 47, White House 47, Republican 47, Democrat 47, the sitting president Trump equals 47 in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel the night of the election. The last president, Obama, put in office at age 47. The ritual with George W. Bush was different, but the president before him, Clinton, was put into office 211 days before his 47th birthday. 211, the 47th prime. Big number in D.C. Can't emphasize it enough. Big number with Freemasonry. You get in Washington, D.C., named after the Scottish Rite Freemason George Washington. So with regards to Larry Hogan, this came just before his 62nd birthday. He's the 62nd governor of Maryland. Mason equals 62, sacrifice 62. The opposition candidate, clearly a ritual sacrifice by the numbers. Goes back to that song, Murder by Numbers. Goes back to that other song, Gematria, the killing name, with the alphabetic order. Masonic 74, Jewish 74, Occult 74, English 74, Gematria 74, killing 74. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. Comes from Kabbalah. Just as another reminder, Larry Hogan equals 119. The day of the Rite Aid shooting in Aberdeen was his 119th day of being 62 years old. From the day this man died to the election, November 6th, is a span of 181 days, the 42nd prime. Freemason 42, that Freemason motto that we're going to talk a lot about from now on, so mote it be. 42, look at the overlap with Freemason and so mote it be. Look how so mote it be has 57 like conspiracy. See all the overlap? Just look at it for a second on the screen. Let it sink in. These people do run the world by conspiracy. They use murder as a weapon. They use fear. Propaganda is intimidation, and intimidation is weapons. You know, they're the people who brainwash the world into thinking there's no such thing as a conspiracy. You know, the average American, they hear the word, they go, oh, conspiracy theory. Oh, tinfoil hat, mother's basement. What, you think the moon landing's fake? You know, it's just a society of program. Idiots, truly. And this is who's done it. These people control your government, your media, Hollywood, television. I mean, turn on TV. I can't watch television. It's like every sitcom does the same thing, and it's just all nonstop programming. I feel like every time I turn on the TV and flip to a sitcom, there's some joke about people who seek truth. You know, there's so much programming reinforcement to demonize the word conspiracy when in fact the world is run with very clear conspiracies that you have to be absolutely blind mentally with your own eyes to not see. You know, we're living in the land of the blind. Again, if you're trying to get my book on Etsy, Etsy has now blocked it. That's effective Monday, September 24th. I'm looking for a new place to put it up online where people can get it. You can email me directly, gematriaeffectnews@gmail.com, just like the channel. If you send an email there that you want the book and you donate to my PayPal, which is also in the description, $5 minimum donation. Just say, hey, Zach, I made the donation. Let me know what name the donation's under. I'll verify it, and I'll send you the book ASAP. But everybody needs this knowledge, you guys, and I wouldn't sleep on getting this book, you know? You want it now before something else happens. Remember, I'm the same guy who's gone through a lot since I started putting out this research, you know? Let me just remind you some of the things I've had to deal with for exposing this. November 8th, 2014, driving to my friend's house. I have a black SUV come out of nowhere on a residential road, fly in front of me and slam on its brakes, so I have to slam on my brakes. Then they drove. After they sat there parked in the middle of the street for like 30 seconds, I tried to go around them, and then they drove forward a little bit and stopped again, so I had to stop and wait behind them, and I waited there. Then when I tried to go around again, then they started to drive forward again. You know what this black SUV did? It drove to my friend's house. It knew where I was going. Then it sat there parked in front of the house before I even got there. I had to call my friend and say, hey man, something really weird's going on. This car just cut me off and now they knew to go to your house before I got there. So anyway, I only had to stop by and see him for a little bit. I told him to stay in the house and I'd come in there and if anything happened, just call the police. Not that they were going to do anything, right? But what happened was I went in his house and I talked to him about what we needed to talk about. And when I went back outside, the same SUV was still waiting outside. But when I came back out, the SUV took off. And when I got back to my house, what was weird is on the side of my house where I used to live, there was an RV pad and it had a double gate that you push back open. I never had an RV, but the previous owner did. And I never opened up that gate because I never had any reason to go through that side of the gate or open up the RV pad. But when I got home, the gate was wide open. And they had to unlatch the gate and open it up and post it up the way it was. So I got home and I thought, wow, okay, not only did I get run off the road, but somebody's been at my house. And then the weirdest thing was on the side of the house, there was an outlet and they plugged in this old microwave and they left 39 seconds on the timer. And I knew a little bit about 39. This is back in 2014. I was like a year into this research, putting it out online. Just started my YouTube channel like 3 months before this happened. And I called up my other buddy who lived closer to my house, and I said, dude, I just had this weird thing happen. I got ran off the road, and now I got home, and my gate's wide open, and somebody plugged a microwave in the side of my house, and there's a timer on it with 39 seconds. And he was like, I wouldn't open it, man. It could be a bomb. And I said, I was thinking the same thing, but I don't know what else to do. And I said, well, just stay on the phone with me. I want to walk around the outside of the house and see what's going on. I want to see if anybody's been inside. So I walked around and looked like all the windows were closed. The doors were locked. So I said, hang on the phone. I said, I'm going to go inside and check it out and see what it looks like inside. And walked around the inside of the house. Everything looked fine. And I said, just stay on the phone. I'm going to go outside and open that microwave and see what's going on. And he was telling me I shouldn't do it, but I said, honestly, man, I said, it's not like I can call the police. I don't feel like the police are on my side. Look at what I do with my work. I expose the police and their corruption and masonry and all this. So I just went out and I opened up the phone, or not the phone, I opened up the microwave, and there was nothing in it. It was just empty. And it was like an old beat-up microwave. It looked like it was from the junk pile, but Anyway, so my friend was like, well, you're lucky there was nothing in there. I don't think I would have done that, but he's like, just keep me posted if anything else happens. So that was November 8th, 2014. 7 days later, I came home from being away. Door kicked open, entire house dumped out, tore up, upside down, furniture flipped, stuff broken everywhere, entire freezer and fridge dumped. Every single valuable I had cleaned out of my house. Even took my clothes, took my shoes, took all this stuff that wasn't even that nice. They just pretty much took almost everything out of my house. It was like a moving team was there. And I lost a lot because I had it doesn't matter. I lost pretty much everything. And, even before that happened, and after that, I continued to get all this weird mail, threats, weird riddles. Like what you see like in movies where people cut up magazines and take letters and form sentences and stuff. Just getting all this crap, all this intimidation crap. Shortly after the burglary of my house, it became apparent that my neighbor across the street was part of it because he had no money, and I had recently helped him out and given him some money, which I think ended up being like a signal to these people that there was stuff in my house worth taking. And anyway, he went out and bought the exact same vehicle as me, make, model, color, and then he also filed a restraining order against me. And keep in mind, this is somebody who I'd only ever helped out. I used to clean his gutters for him. I used to give him free weed. The guy's also 30 years older than me. The point is, I'd been nothing but a good neighbor to this guy. Had him and his wife over for dinner. And anyway, he got the same vehicle as me and filed a restraining order against me and started, like he'd see me in my front yard and honk the horn at me in the same vehicle. He's driving the same vehicle as me now. And then he would flip me off, and I was just like, what is this crap? And that went on for about 4 months before one day, it was March 7th, 2015. My house was burglarized. Hold on. My house was burglarized November 15th. March 7th, he got the restraining order right after that. I think the restraining order was in place like end of November, beginning of December, I forget. But all this crap went on until March 7th. That day, I was mowing my yard for the first time. It was spring. Spring came early, and the grass was growing, so I was out mowing the lawn, picking the weeds, and he came out and started jawing at me from across the street. He lives directly across the street from me, and I knew I wasn't supposed to say anything back because he had a restraining order, but he just kept talking from across the street, so I told him to F off and go back in his house and to leave me alone. And he pulled out his phone and said, I just recorded you. I said, dude, I don't care. Call the police and show them what an instigator you are. Well, I was wrong because the police came, 5 cars. Some of those police cars had more than 2 officers, so I had this circle of officers around my house in no time. I got arrested, and keep in mind I'd never been arrested before this, so now I have an arrest record, So I had to go to jail, and when I got out of jail, when I got released, my other neighbor who saw this happen, she came hours later and bailed me out. When I got home, when I got back from jail, not long after getting back, I was in the shower, and the same neighbor who picked me up, she was calling my phone, and after like the 3rd call, I got out of the shower and picked it up. I didn't know who was calling me. She said, you got to look out your window. Look out your window. There's guys standing out there with guns. So I look out the front window, and she's not lying. There's 2 pickup trucks, a bunch of guys standing around that I've never seen before in my life, and they're all just standing out there like holding shooting rifles or like AR-15s. So I called the police department and I said, there are 2 trucks of men standing out in front of my house and they're just holding guns and I've never seen any of these people. And it took over 2 hours for the police to show up. Keep in mind there were 5 cars at my house to arrest me within minutes of, me telling my neighbor to F off. Over 2 hours go by, and those men cleared out. I don't know exactly when they cleared out, because after I looked through the window and saw that, I stayed on the other side of my house, because I didn't know what they were going to do. And, but by the time the officers showed up, they were gone. And when the officers showed up, it was the same officer who arrested me. And he said, I don't see anybody here. And I said, well, that's because it took you 2 hours to come here. And he said, well, it looks like you're wasting my time. He said, I could take you back down to the jail. And I said, well, how about we go talk to my neighbor then, who actually called me and let me know people were standing out in front of my house. So he goes and talks to my neighbor, and she says that, yeah, these people were out there with the guns. And he goes, well, they're not here now. And he said, you know, you guys don't live too far from a shooting range. Maybe they were just gathering to go to the shooting range. You know, because obviously just two random trucks full of dudes are just going to come park in front of my house and stand out in front holding their guns. You know, doesn't that make sense? So this same officer, before he goes, he tells me that if he was me, he would move out of town. I was thinking, oh, okay. So anyway, I've just been dealing with all this crap. 2016, you know, from that time on up to Christmas Eve 2016, when the next major thing happened, getting all this crap in the mail, threats, weird mail. I have this channel put out this video for me and how I better check the numbers and watch myself on Christmas Eve 2016. Well, what happens to me on Christmas Eve 2016? An SUV drives through my house. You know, what are the odds? Christmas Eve, a car crashes through my house after getting a threat? Well, if you missed all the videos at the time, I put out the police report, and I showed how the police didn't get the report together until days after. God, I should go back and look myself. It was some perfect numerological date that corresponded with the local Freemason Lodge, and they signed off on the report at the 33rd minute of the day. You know, why did they wait until the middle of the night, days after, to sign off on this report? And, you know, that same channel who put out the threat for Christmas Eve, for New Year's Eve, he did a video talking about me and a dead squirrel. And then what do you know, the next day, dead squirrel right in front of my house. So the point is, for doing this work, I've been harassed, threatened, censored. I mean, I've had my YouTube channel deleted 20 times now. You know, Etsy just now stopped selling my book, even though there's no reason to not sell my book. There's nothing in here. I don't discriminate against anybody. I just expose facts. You know, there's no reason for the book to be blocked. The point is, again, you should get this work while you still can. I just recently had the FBI come to my house and accuse me of something that I never did, you know? So, how much longer do I have to keep speaking out and putting out the knowledge? If you get the book that I've written, that I've spent 5 years writing, you know, you're going to have this knowledge for the rest of your life. If you don't get this book now, there might come a day where you can't get this book anymore. You know, maybe it's censored everywhere. Maybe it's deleted online. You know, maybe the file, I don't know what all they can do. But, you know, maybe I'm also not here to respond to the email to send you the book anymore. So, the directions for how to get the book in the description of every video. The way to do it right now, PayPal and email, or through the Patreon. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.